Desi Williamson is the author of Where There's a Will, There's a Way. And my, this gentleman is a prime example of that. He joins us now. Okay, Desi, whether we like it or not, you're doing such tremendous work right now, and we're going to get back to that in a second. Whether we like it or not, I think we're all a product, one way or another, of our childhood. You grew up in St. Louis, and it wasn't easy, was it?
No, it wasn't easy. You know, my mother was 15 when I was born, and my dad was 19, babies raising a baby. And because many of the challenges my mother went through being a young mother trying to raise children, unfortunately, I had to experience much of her trauma as a child. And so at the age of 11, I ran away from home and I packed my bags in paper bags and lived with my grandmother, my father's mother. And she's the one that got a hold of me. And she used to always say, where there's a will, there's a way. And so from that, that translated into me setting my sights on bigger goals. And one of them was to get a football scholarship. And I was fortunate enough to be recruited by about 30 schools. And I chose the University of Minnesota.
Unbelievable. Now, you say so nonchalantly. When I was 11 years old, I packed my clothes. That's something. Your dad had been married 3 times. Your mom had been married 9 times. At the time you finally decided, I need to get out of here, she was with somebody that was abusive in the household. You, an 11-year-old, you made the decision, I got to get out of here. You went to Grandma. She reprogrammed you, basically, and that turned everything around.
Well, that's true. Well, you know, that comes a point of decision for everybody. One of the most difficult things for people to do is decide. Deciding is always the hardest part. But once you decide and begin to take action, I didn't really focus on the problem because for 11 years I had lived the problem. So now it's time to take action. And I kept my grandmother's voice all the way, always in the back of my head. She was always there. Where there's a will, there's a way. A stitch in time saves 9. But the where there's a will, there's a way part was a part that I burned into my consciousness, and I took action, and I made that the focal point.
And I get the real sense in reading your published works that when you made it to the University of Minnesota, your coach there was very instrumental and influential in backing up a lot of those lessons your grandma had taught you and giving you that discipline that you really needed to become who you are now.
Absolutely. Well, you know, Tony Dungy was one of the first people I met when I got on campus. He recruited me. He was a freshman at the U when I was a senior.
Wow.
And we both were influenced by Cal Stahl. And, of course, Tony's new book is called Uncommon. One of the chapters in my book, I talk about being uncommon. And Coach Stahl always told us that success is uncommon, therefore to be enjoyed by uncommon people. And what he meant was that one person is not better than another, but they are willing to do things that the other folks aren't willing to do. And so that's what uncommon is about. It's about having a goal. It's about taking action and sticking with it until you succeed.
You mentioned Tony Dungy, who went on, of course, to have an amazing career as a coach in the National Football League. So you're hanging around with some well-motivated people, no doubt about it. And then even as you become successful and you become a businessman and a public speaker, you suffer yet another setback, don't you? You had a serious injury.
Absolutely. I broke my neck in 2 places after a serious fall 4 years ago. I was paralyzed for about 30 days. They went back in to fuse C6 and C7. Most people with that injury never walk again. But again, that's where willpower comes from, to be able to summon that everybody's got willpower. And that's what the genesis of why I wrote the book, to teach people that no matter where you are in life, no matter where you're coming from, you have the will to be able to succeed in life if we could just get in there and reprogram some things. Most people grow up in a negative, with a negative self-consciousness about who they are, what they can do, and what's possible. And what this book does is it helps people to reprogram themselves so they can live the life that they want.
Why is it that so many of us fail? We don't achieve our potential.
Most people ask disempowering questions. The first one being, why is this always happening to me? Everybody asks that question. And of course, there's always a question that says, why not you? And so I believe that there are 6 empowering questions. I think there's 6 powerful questions: who, what, when, where, how, why. And they say when you can answer those questions with pen and paper, then you'll get the answers. Why you want to do something is more important than probably any of the other 5 questions. Who or what do I want to be? When and where do I want to begin? How can I add value? How can I get it done? But most importantly, why do I want it? Because when you find out the why, you can do it anyhow.
Really does make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
You got to read it. I mean, it's an inspirational story. You're an inspirational guy. It's Where There's a Will, There's a Way. Desi Williamson is his name. Football player, businessman, speaker, St. Louis native, lives up in Minnesota right now, even does some work with the Vikings. We won't talk about that.
We won't talk about that, but we got 5-0. We did it yesterday.
Congratulations, I suppose, to you. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Real pleasure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.